at both Walmarts, Belk, Hobby Lobby, and Kroger. And we're going to try and fill as many of those hours to keep those bells ringing as much as possible from the day after Thanksgiving until Christmas Eve. And we're going to try and keep somebody at those locations all the time. We have lots of ways that you can donate, either through your time, your personal finances. We have these little cards now that you can scan and pay and do your donation. We also have the Red Kettle online where you can donate directly. We have the kettle set up all through town. We do have a sign-up sheet here if you have any time that you'd like to individually come and donate some of your time. And we also have, we've got the Rotary Club scheduled in for a day. And you can do 30 minutes or an hour, however long you'd like. We've got you scheduled at Walmart on the 4th.
So we got a couple weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks. And anything that you would like to donate, be it directly for the Red Kettles or for the family store, we are very happy to accept any donations. Nothing is too small or too large now. We have our truck running. We've been very fortunate. We were able to hire a truck driver, and so we can now pick up donations, which is a huge boon for us to be able to further our missions. Because everything here that we do at the LaGrange Salvation Army benefits Troup County. We're looking to expand that into West Point and Hogansville, those social services that we provide. I don't know if everybody knows that we offer rent assistance and utility assistance, and it could be personal hygiene products or just anything that are, I always say, our lesser brother and sisters for Troup County need. And we rely solely on the donations from the residents and for grants and such that we've applied for. So we've been very fortunate this year to get a grant that has been able to help us with rental assistance and utility assistance for the social services. So we look really forward to the Rotary again this year. It's my understanding you always show up and show out, and we appreciate that so much. And if you have anything else that you would like to volunteer for, I can definitely find you a spot. Thank y'all so much.
So we're scheduled for December 4th, which is just a couple of Saturdays to do this at Walmart. I wasn't sure. We're doing it from 9 to 5 on Saturday. I would think that would be 1 hour slots. Unless we get more people, then it'll be 30-minute slots. And if we get more people, we can do 15-minute slots. So let's try to make this as many people as we got to do some big time math to get out there. But I will tell you, the folks that do it regularly do it, and they will all tell you that, like she said, everybody's smiling when they put their money in those kettles. And I'll tell you also, firsthand, I may have taught my kids to give to the Red Kettle before I taught them how to tithe, because the Salvation Army has impacted my family personally when a tornado destroyed my entire house. And it's probably been over 20 years ago, but the Salvation Army was the first people on the scene with a hot breakfast and a cold Coke. And I didn't know that I was missing either of those until they showed up to give it to me. And I realized whatever's in my pocket when I ever see the Red Kettle will go in that kettle. And it's important to our family and it's important to our club. So let's, if we need to sign up, George, you can see George or me today. You can shoot us a note. We will be glad to put your name down and figure out what time works best for you. Next, John Harrell, I think, do you have any announcement today for projects?
No, but again, we are still looking at the Rotary Golf Tournament this spring. Spring's gonna get here not quite as fast as ringing the bell, but it's gonna get here really quick. We've had a few people step up to the plate, but please, we'll be sending out more emails and gonna start pestering you throughout the holiday season. If we want this to be successful, we need 72 golfers, we need 18 hole sponsors, we need people to sponsor closest to the pin, longest drive. There's a lot that goes in on the front end to make it successful, but I have no doubts that we can make it happen.
Thanks, George. Couple other announcements. We have our monthly board meeting today, a meeting following this meeting next door. So it's an opportunity for a makeup. Another opportunity for a makeup is to send Barbara and your name if you're reading the Rotary magazine. So this should be a makeup for everybody because I know everybody's reading the magazine. No meeting next week, so have a happy Thanksgiving. We won't be here next week due to Thanksgiving, so have a great holiday. And then just a reminder that the Rotary International Conference is in Houston next June. December 15th is the last day for early bird registration, so there's a discounted rate if you can sign up before December 15th. So if you're interested in going, you can find out more information at convention.rotary.org. We do have a couple minutes for Happy Dollars if anybody has anything to put in the bucket.
I don't have anything to put it on. But I want to make another announcement that I'd like to regarding the Range Personal Aid Food Closet. Anticipate emails going out from Barbara regarding that Project North Pole Rotary Youth Challenge. Those will be going out. In the past, we had brought food, but there's a much more efficient way to do that where we have a greater impact because we have an organization that can leverage your dollars much greater than we can if we bring our green beans out of the closet. So expect an email from Barbara within the next week.
All right. Thanks, John. Anybody else?
It is with a really full heart. I'm shocked that I'm even going to try this. We have so much to be grateful for. You know our heart is so close to Africa with our students at the school and my daughter. And many of you may have already known we had a terrible fire. And it was 800 feet from the school. A tanker truck collided with a truck that was delivering granite, and the fuel truck was coming to deliver fuel to a gas station. And of course, when people heard the noise of the collision, they ran, and 4 of our children were killed. And one child, Mohammed, my daughter has practically adopted him, has given him a home, and he's in a private school. He's just a lot of things that have happened to benefit him. And he had an older brother, 16, and he was killed. Tamu. But Katie did a GoFundMe, and it's so heartbreaking, but yet it's so good to see. Unfortunately, all the graves with that GoFundMe, these people got buried, and a lot of good has come out of it. The ambassador is with Katie right now, and it's just lots and lots of good has come out of it. And then I think about my Rotary, and so there's my dollar for that one. And then I think about the Rotary Club and how far it reaches. And, we all hear about the wonderful things that my daughter does, and she's quite impressive, but when you are young, you think life is over if you're 25 and not married. You know, by 28, I had some of my friends say, "What's wrong with Katie?" You know, well, my brothers wouldn't let her get married to the people she chose. That was the real truth. But at any rate, she did meet a fabulous person and has a wonderful life. And but my solution for Katie was, Katie, stop worrying about yourself so much and go join Rotary. She joined the Rotary Club in Atlanta, in Buckhead, many years ago. And you know what it has done for her. And we hear about so many people that are depressed. And even with COVID, even more and more people that are depressed. But to see the joy and the things that, how it just goes full circle with Rotary. Her husband is now in London going to school, and she's there, of course. And here we have, I'm with Bart in Knoxville doing brain jogging in several schools there, 6 schools. And one day we get a call, and it's an opportunity to have brain jogging in London, and he was just 20 minutes away. But Katie, and of course we wouldn't have had Bart had it not been for the Rotary Club sponsoring brain jogging at the Boys Club many years ago. And then when things happen, like in Africa, I mean, Katie goes to the Rotary Club in Africa every single time that she goes to Africa. She has quite the relationship there. But how Rotary has touched the lives of so many over and over and over. The circle just keeps getting larger and larger, and the impact is so fabulous. And I'm just very grateful for my Rotary Club. Thank
Well, thank you all. And now I'll ask Connie Hensler to come up and introduce our program today.
And thank you, Shirley. That's a perfect segue into today's program. So we couldn't have worked that out better. I'm very excited to introduce Cheryl Greenway to you all today. And you may know Cheryl. She's probably been here before and talked with our club, and you may have met her, like I said. But I will say professionally, Cheryl is a CPA, and she drove to join us today from Canton. So we appreciate her doing that. But what I'm really going to tell you about is all of Cheryl's work in Rotary, and then she's going to share some information about the Rotary Foundation with us. November is Rotary Foundation Month, and so the timing is perfect for her to be here to join us. But Cheryl is a second-generation Rotarian. She's followed in her father's footsteps. She joined the Roswell Rotary Club in 1994. Her father was president of that club in 1976, and then Cheryl was president in 2005. So while she was there, she had a great year and was a great leader. She led the club to receive the Best Club recognition, and then she herself was recognized with the Sheffield Leadership Award, which was presented to District 69 Club presidents who best exemplify extraordinary leadership skills. So that was a great thing for Cheryl to be recognized with for her work. After that, she became involved in District 6900, and she served as district governor in 2012 to 2013. She's had many other positions in the district. She has been the Rotary Leadership Institute director from 2013 to 16, president-elect training seminar committee from 2011 to this year. She served as the district conference. She is the district conference co-chair for 2023. So we look forward to that. I'm sure that'll be a great event. She's had many other opportunities and many other service work within our club, within our district as well. But as I mentioned, she is currently going to speak to us about the Rotary Foundation. She serves as our District 6900 Foundation Chair. And so we're excited to have her share some information about the foundation today. Cheryl.
You did some digging on that. It's my honor to be here with you today, and the Happy Dollar definitely was a great kickoff for this, because the foundation, to me, is one of the main things that helps to bring us all together in what we do in Rotary. The foundation is a complex entity that tends to make people want to just kind of go, oh, Lord, I can't get all that. I know for myself, it took repetitive learning to try to get my arms around everything related to the foundation. So I'm not going to go into the weeds today. I'm going to do a high-level approach to the Rotary Foundation, but I'll be glad to stay after the meeting to try to answer any questions of any of you that want to get down in the weeds and ask something more specific. So the Rotary Foundation was started in 1917 at the International Convention held in Atlanta. The president of Rotary at that time was Arch Klump, and that's why his name is one that is highly recognized in giving to the Rotary Foundation. But even though it started in 1917, it really did not take off until after Paul Harris passed away. So he was adamant that he didn't want anything named after him. So after he died, everybody went, okay, now we can. So that's when they created the Paul Harris Fellow. And with that, the giving to the foundation really took off. We are recognized by Charity Navigator as one of the highest, best charities in the country. And one of the reasons being is we're very good stewards of our money. The Rotary Foundation is a separate entity from Rotary International, but they work together. They have similar bleeding over of officers. Executive Secretary for Rotary International is involved with the foundation. The head trustee for the foundation is a past Rotary International president. So there's close connections on all that. And the way the foundation works is the money that's donated each year to the annual fund stays in the annual fund for 3 years. And then it's given back to all the districts to do good work. So how many other charities do you give money to that give you the money back? Well, that's what the Rotary Foundation does. But the earnings that it gets during those 3 years, that is what it uses to help pay for all the administrative costs to deal with the foundation. So that's just a quick high level of the foundation's organization itself. So how does the foundation itself work? Well, giving, just like any other foundation. We've got to give money to the foundation to be able to do the deeds we do. And there's different ways to give to the foundation. You can write a check. You can do Rotary Direct, where you go online and you have them hit your credit card or your debit your checking account, whatever you want to do, monthly, quarterly, annual, whatever you want. You can donate stock. Pretty much anything you can do in the way of a donation to any charity, you can also do the Rotary Foundation. But the options are a little different once you decide what you want to give. The question becomes, and I'm going to use an accounting analogy, what bucket do you want to put the money in? Because the foundation basically gives you 4 options. The first one is the annual fund. That's the one I was talking about a minute ago, where the money you donate to the annual fund comes back in 3 years for the district to use. And that's what we do our district grants and our global grants fund. That's the annual fund. Then there's Polio Plus. Now, I'm sure most all of you are familiar with polio and what we're dealing with there, that we're down to 2 countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, this week we got some bad news. We had our last cases back in January, but this week it was discovered there were 2 cases in Afghanistan at the end of October. So we kind of start over because to be polio-free, we can't have a case for 3 years. But everybody expected there was going to be some more cases here and there that were not totally done. I know personally I was worried about what was going to happen with Afghanistan with all the issues that have been going on there recently. But it was good to hear that even though there may be differences with the Taliban and what they do and such, they recognize the value of the Polio Plus campaign. And they are working with Rotary and with the World Health Organization to continue the immunization so we can finish our job and get rid of this disease. So polio is still a struggle. It's still something we're going to finish. We've been working on this since 1986, but we're so close we can't walk away from it. We got to finish it. So if you make a donation to the Polio Plus campaign, that is a restricted gift. You have said that money can only be used for this purpose. So that's where it goes. It doesn't come back. A lot of people get confused about that and think somehow that comes back, but it doesn't. But what does happen with the Polio Plus donation, it is matched by the Bill Gates Foundation 2-1. So if you give $10, they add 20, now you get a $30 donation to Polio Plus. So that's the second bucket. The third bucket is an endowment fund. Rotary has its own endowment. It's just like any other nonprofit's endowment. It is money that is never to be spent. It's the earnings of that endowment that then are used to do other deeds. For example, if you leave $25,000 in your will to the Rotary Foundation and you put it in the endowment, because it's up to you to say how you want that money to be donated, what bucket you want it in, then the earnings off that each year are for you to control. Even though you won't be here, you can still say what you want done. So you could leave that money, and I'll just use myself because I kind of like the idea. So I have $25,000 in my will that goes to the Rotary Foundation, and I've designated that the earnings off that every year is to go into the annual fund. That way, I will continue to be giving to our annual fund to come back to do the projects that we do in our district, even though I'll be gone. It's kind of nice to me to know that it keeps replenishing it. So that's the endowment bucket. The last one is a meter bucket, and it has come from disaster relief. So this is very new. It's only a couple years old. And the challenge you have to keep in mind here, you can't pick the disaster because you don't know what disaster it's going to be. So when you put money into the disaster fund, it is up to the trustees to determine what disaster it goes to help. But the thing to always know, the only people that spend the money out of the foundation are Rotarians. So if there's a disaster somewhere and a Rotarian club says we have this project that we need to do to help these people that were just wiped out by this disaster, they're the ones that would coordinate. They're the ones that would get the money and do the work. It's not going to go to another nonprofit. It's not going to go to another group. It's only going to go under the control of the foundation and Rotarians. So those are your 4 buckets in which when you make a donation to your foundation, you need to tell them which bucket you want it to go in. If you don't tell them, they assume it's the annual fund. So it's important that you make it clear where you want your donations to go. So that's the money going into it. But what I love is the money coming out of it. Because I'm like you with the work that we do. To me, the foundation is what connects us throughout the world. You mentioned the convention a minute ago. I've been, 6, 7, 8 conventions. And what I love in it is meeting people from all over the world. It's just such a great opportunity. There's no stranger there. You can sit down by yourself. Someone else will sit down and just strike up a conversation with you. And you can meet people from all over the world. And with those connections, you can look at maybe doing projects with each other. So our global grants are the projects where we reach outside our district to do good work. And it's through those connections that some of our global grants have developed. The Africa would be potentially a great global grant for the club to look at doing, where you apply, you've got to establish connection with a Rotary Club there, you've got that, and you can do a global grant to help the people in the African community. So it's a good way to put our foundation to work for things you already have a heart for and already invested in. They use it for our district grants. So each year you do a project that you apply for. How much we allocate for the district grants is based on how much was given 3 years ago. This year, I think you did the books and the bags for the students. So the money you're donating is coming to help not only your local community, but also throughout the world. And there's nothing wrong with doing a reverse grant. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you establish a good relationship with a club in Africa. Got to be a matter whether they have the financial support and also the designated funds where they pay donations to the foundation. But if you had a project here that you needed help and support for, you can always reach out to the clubs in the other places in the world and ask them to do one here. It doesn't always have to be leading us to go somewhere else. They can come back to us to do good work. It's just a matter of learning how to coordinate that, how to apply for it. Global grants sometimes can take 1 to 2 years to get them done. They're generally not real quick projects like our district grants are. So you have to put a little time and effort into it, but it accomplishes a lot of great deeds. I don't know if y'all might be interested in it, but Columbus is putting together a global grant, and they're looking for clubs to join in with them to do that global grant. So that might be an opportunity for you there too. So the foundation, in quick summary, it's how we do a lot of the good deeds we do. You do it yourself through your own club, through supporting activities within your community, and you do it through the foundation to support clubs and other people throughout the world with their needs. Because a lot of people say, what is Rotary going to do after polio? And nobody has the given answer for that. But if I had to make a bet with you, it would be peace. Because I think that's where our next focus will be. And the only way to help people find peace is to make sure they've got water, make sure they got food, make sure they've got education. And this is what the foundation has been doing for years, and what I think we'll continue to be putting our efforts into. So with all that, can I answer any questions for anybody? No? Okay. Well, Tommy, if you want to come back up, we have presentations to make to some of the members of the club.
So Cheryl was talking a little bit about Paul Harris Fellows and what it takes to become a Paul Harris Fellow. And to become a Paul Harris Fellow, that means that you've donated $1,000 to the foundation. Once you've done that, you can become Paul Harris +1, which means you've given another $1,000. +2, another $2,000. So we've got some pins here that we haven't been able to give out for a while to some of our members that are Paul Harris Plus members. So let's see who's here today. Shirley Pennebaker, Paul Harris +1. Why don't you come up here? We have a pin here. Thank you, Shirley. And Joe Radley, Paul Harris Thanks, Joe. And Jerry Folks, Paul Harris +2. Right, and then we have one more. That's the folks that are here today. We do have some other pins for folks, and we'll get them to it that aren't here. But then also, Paul Harris +5, Barbara Hennigan. Thanks all of y'all, we appreciate that. I know the foundation does. you gave us a lot to think about. I was taking notes during your speech about all the things that we could do, so, and I don't often do that, but I heard some tasks in there. So I appreciate that. In honor of your speaking today, we are gonna make a donation to Polo War. So thank you very much. Next week, no meeting, board meeting right now. So, if you need to make up, we can do that right now. If not, have a happy Thanksgiving, and we are done. Have a great day. If you do want to sign up for the Red Cross or the Salvation Army,
Yeah, that's kind of
Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good to see you. Good to see you too.